Toyota Motor Corporation is the world's largest car maker, a company whose scale, reach, and influence span continents and industries. It has produced more than 300 million vehicles, pioneered hybrid technology, and mastered the art of manufacturing efficiency through the Toyota Production System. It is a company synonymous with reliability and global ubiquity in cities, in remote villages, and across the battlefields and deserts of the modern world. Yet among Toyota's many products, one stands apart as its most enduring and symbolic: the LandCruiser. For more than 70 years, this single model line has defined what toughness, reliability, and longevity mean in an automobile. It is a vehicle equally at home in the service of the United Nations in conflict zones, traversing the Sahara Desert, or parked outside a palace in Riyadh. The LandCruiser is more than a product. It is an institution, a living thread that ties Toyota's rise as an industrial power to the everyday realities of people and organizations who depend on vehicles that simply cannot fail. This is the story of Toyota, and most importantly, the LandCruiser, a story of how a rugged, military-inspired truck grew into the world's most trusted 4x4, how it evolved without ever betraying its core identity, and how it continues to hold an unmatched position in both tactical utility and luxury status. Toyota's beginnings trace back to the 1930s when Kiichiro Toyota, son of loom inventor Sakichi Toyota, steered the family's textile company into automotive production. Japan, at the time, was rapidly industrializing, and the government strongly encouraged domestic car development. Toyota's early passenger cars and trucks were heavily influenced by American designs, but by the 1940s, the company had developed its own capacity to produce engines and heavy vehicles. The devastation of World War II left Toyota, like most of Japanese industry, in ruins. Yet reconstruction provided opportunity. The US occupation forces required domestic vehicles for logistical support, and Toyota's small trucks filled the gap. This early exposure to military and tactical roles foreshadowed the company's later global reach. By the early 1950s, Toyota sought to build a vehicle that could compete with the American Willys Jeep, which had established itself as the gold standard of wartime utility. It was in this crucible of necessity and ambition that the LandCruiser was born. The first prototype, called the Toyota Jeep BJ, appeared in 1951. It was a rugged four-wheel drive vehicle designed for the Japanese National Police Reserve, blending Jeep-inspired functionality with Toyota's own engineering. The BJ impressed in early demonstrations by climbing Mount Fuji to the 6th station, a feat that highlighted its durability. By 1954, however, legal challenges over the Jeep name forced Toyota to rename the vehicle. The chosen name was LandCruiser, a deliberate echo of the British Land Rover, which was then dominating the global off-road market. From the start, Toyota understood the importance of positioning the LandCruiser as a direct competitor to established icons. The early models, collectively known as the 20 Series, were simple, utilitarian machines. They lacked refinement but were durable, with robust ladder-frame chassis, part-time four-wheel drive, and engines designed to run reliably in punishing conditions. These first LandCruisers established a reputation in Asia, the Middle East, and Latin America as vehicles that could reach places other vehicles could not. The 40 Series, introduced in 1960, became the true global breakout. Produced for nearly 25 years, the LandCruiser 40 became one of the most recognizable 4x4s in the world. With its boxy shape, round headlights, and no-nonsense design, it embodied durability. Farmers, militaries, explorers, and NGOs adopted it wholesale. In Africa, the LandCruiser became a staple of humanitarian convoys. In Australia, it conquered the Outback. In the Middle East, it became the desert's favourite tool. By the 1960s, the LandCruiser was already more than a vehicle. It was a symbol of trust. Few vehicles in history have achieved such a pervasive tactical role as the LandCruiser. Militaries adopted it in multiple configurations: troop carriers, ambulances, weapon platforms, and supply haulers. The vehicle's simple mechanics and global parts availability made it invaluable in conflict zones. Unlike more complex Western vehicles, the LandCruiser could be repaired in the field with basic tools, making it particularly useful in low infrastructure environments. The United Nations and humanitarian organizations came to depend on the LandCruiser for their peacekeeping and aid operations. Whether in sub-Saharan Africa, the Middle East, or Southeast Asia, Land Cruisers became ubiquitous in white paint with blue UN markings. Their role was not symbolic. They were literal lifelines, carrying food, medicine, and personnel into regions where breakdowns were unacceptable. Insurgents and armed groups, too, recognised the Land Cruiser's value. The vehicle's toughness and load capacity made it adaptable for combat roles. In several African and Middle Eastern conflicts, the Land Cruiser became the backbone of improvised technicals, civilian vehicles converted for battlefield use with mounted weapons. So strong was this association that the 1987 conflict between Chad and Libya was nicknamed the Toyota War, after Chadian forces in Land Cruisers outmaneuvered Libyan armoured units and secured victory. This dual use, as a tool of humanitarian aid and as a machine of war, highlights the Land Cruiser's unique tactical identity, the engineering philosophy of reliability. At the heart of the Land Cruiser's dominance lies Toyota's engineering philosophy. Durability first, everything else second. From the 40 series through the 70, 80, 100, and 200 series, the Land Cruiser's essential features changed very little. Toyota engineers believed in gradual refinement rather than radical reinvention. Key design elements: ladder frame construction, robust solid axles in many generations, simple and proven diesel and petrol engines, and over-engineered cooling and suspension systems created a reputation for invincibility. Unlike Western manufacturers, who often chase styling trends or luxury features, Toyota kept the Land Cruiser austere and functional. This conservatism became its greatest strength. Owners trusted that each new generation would retain the same reliability as the last. The Land Cruiser also benefited from Toyota's unique manufacturing discipline, rooted in the Toyota production system. This system emphasized quality control, waste reduction, and continuous improvement. Kaizen. The result was vehicles that simply worked, not just in normal use, but in extreme climates and under maximum stress. For many owners, especially in regions like Africa or Australia, the Land Cruiser wasn't just a car, it was a survival tool. While the Land Cruiser built its reputation in the field, Toyota recognized the growing demand for off-roaders that combined ruggedness with comfort. The 60 series, introduced in 1980, marked this pivot. It offered more spacious interiors, better road manners, and amenities like air conditioning and power windows. It was still capable off-road, but it now appealed to families and executives. The 80 series in 1990 pushed further, blending coil spring suspension for improved ride quality with powerful straight-six engines. It became a global bestseller, especially in the Middle East, where its combination of toughness and comfort made it a prestige vehicle. By the late 1990s, the Land Cruiser had effectively split into two identities. Workhorse models like the 70 series, still in production today for tactical and industrial use. Luxury-oriented models like the 100 and 200 series, which catered to affluent buyers while maintaining off-road capability. Toyota as tactical and luxury powerhouse. While the Land Cruiser remained Toyota's flagship 4x4, it was part of a wider corporate dominance. The Hilux pickup became another tactical icon, widely used in both military and civilian roles. The Corolla became the world's best-selling car, anchoring Toyota's reputation for affordable reliability. The Prius, launched in 1997, pioneered hybrid technology and cemented Toyota's leadership in electrification. The Lexus brand gave Toyota global credibility in luxury segments, often paired with Land Cruiser-derived SUVs. Within this ecosystem, the Land Cruiser stood as the bridge, tough enough to be tactical, refined enough to be luxury. Few vehicles in history have managed this balance so successfully. The Land Cruiser's lack of change. One of the most remarkable aspects of the Land Cruiser is how little it has changed over the decades. While rivals experimented with radical redesigns or luxury-focused reinventions, Toyota kept the Land Cruiser's essence intact. Its styling remained conservative, boxy, and functional. Its engines prioritized durability over performance. Its chassis retained ladder frame construction, even as most SUVs shifted to unibody. Toyota's philosophy was clear: if something works, don't change it. This lack of change reinforced the Land Cruiser's reputation. Buyers in Africa, the Middle East, or rural Australia knew that a new Land Cruiser would feel much like the old one, only slightly more comfortable and efficient. For governments, militaries, and organisations, this continuity simplified maintenance and training. For private owners, it built loyalty across generations. The 21st century has seen the LandCruiser adapt to modern demands while retaining its core. The 200 series, 2007 to 2021, became a global icon of wealth and toughness, beloved in the Middle East and Africa. It featured advanced suspension, V8 engines, and luxury interiors, yet could still cross deserts with ease. The 300 series, launched in 2021, represented a modernisation, lighter thanks to an all-new GAF platform powered by downsized twin-turbo V6 engines for emissions compliance, but still built on ladder frame architecture with true off-road credentials. The LandCruiser Prado/250 series, relaunched in 2023 to 2024, targets a global audience seeking a mid-sized Land Cruiser, including a revival of the Land Cruiser name in North America after years of absence. The Lexus LX and GX, luxury derivatives, continue to elevate the Land Cruiser DNA into premium markets. This lineup demonstrates Toyota's careful balance, keeping the Land Cruiser's heritage alive while aligning with modern efficiency, safety, and regulatory demands. In 2025, Toyota remains the world's largest automaker by sales, consistently producing more than 10 million vehicles annually. Its dominance is anchored by a reputation for quality, affordability, and hybrid leadership. The LandCruiser, while not Toyota's highest volume model, is its most symbolic. In tactical markets, it is still the default choice for militaries, NGOs, and industries requiring absolute reliability. In luxury markets, it remains a status symbol, particularly in the Middle East, Africa, and parts of Asia. The LandCruiser exemplifies Toyota's dual identity. The company that builds the world's most common cars also builds the vehicle most trusted, where failure is not an option. The story of Toyota is vast, but the story of the LandCruiser is its purest expression. Born in post-war necessity, it became the world's most trusted 4x4. It has been a tool of war and a vehicle of peace. It has carried soldiers, kings, aid workers, and families. It has remained largely unchanged in philosophy for over 70 years because it did not need to change. In an era where automotive trends shift rapidly toward electrification, autonomy, and constant reinvention, the LandCruiser stands as a reminder that sometimes consistency is the greatest innovation. It is not merely a vehicle, it is a cultural artifact, a lifeline, and a luxury. Toyota may be the world's largest car maker, but the LandCruiser is its soul.